Good evening, all you wonderful people. Hope you're ready to hang out and have a good time with Monster Train. We are continuing with the Hat Trick Challenge. We failed with Wildenton, but we are midway through with Primordium. We did Aggressive Edible and Stalwart Snacks, so we only have Superfood to go. And we'll see how it is. We've already used up some important things, but we'll see what happens. It could go well, or it could not, and we'll just see what happens. Okay. So, I need to swap pyres either way. Whoops. Well, I was about to say, I don't mind seeing payrolls to start, but it's a moot point. So, remind me, I think we used Aquaths and we used Herzls, is that correct? Yeah, Aquas and Herzls. Okay, so I don't super care about Bogworms here. I mean, I think Pyre of Savagery is our best bet. Oh, you failed the first Superfood run? We did, yeah. I mean, Furious is also good. I think we're going to do Pyre of Savagery, even though I feel a little bad about taking that when we're going to try to pick up, like, a sweep unit. But whatever, here we are. Okay, so, do we have Superfood on offer? We do not. So let's try again. Do we have Superfood on offer? We do. This is a substantially worse start for Superfood, but fine. I mean, like, the Wildwood Sap isn't bad, I guess, but definitely not what I wanted. We definitely want a tuned Whetstone. Easily that is the case. If we at least had Thorned Hollow instead of Awoken Hollow, I would appreciate that. But sadly, that is not the case. Okay, we can at least do that. And I guess we play out the extra capacity there, because if we can get the other one, then we can play a Steward here, or just Morsels. But I think we're happy to do that. And I guess you're getting a bunch of lifesteal. Hoping for Iron Tongue plus Void Armor merged now. I mean, yeah, very much so, that would be appealing. I don't hate that Primordium got that kill, by the way, since he does get the permanent bonus from Pyre Savagery. The regen is a positive reinforced loop on the Cultivate Hollow. Interesting. Yeah. It does work out pretty well for us right now. I was more worried about the wave clear, but turns out not actually that big a deal. Honestly, I'm not going to kill those with the thing. I'm going to let my dudes buff up a little bit. Even though I shouldn't, probably. But it also doesn't tons matter. We should have this kill no problem, given that we are sitting at, you know, 133 HP with 12 regen, and ta-da. Yeah, unfortunately, he's the one who gets the kill. Alright, so I believe we already used Glutton's Maw. Yeah, so unfortunately we can't take that. I could take the Space Prism, which I don't really care about. Might take the Immortal Trade. Yeah, we'll take Immortal Trade for now as a bit of defense. And we've already used up Razor Sharp. We have used Sting. We have not used Steel Enhancer, I think. Okay. It's not exactly what I want, but I'll take it. I'm gonna go here, and we're really hoping for Husk Hermit. Now we're really hoping for Husker Mitt. Nope. Okay. Fair enough. Okay. We're taking the Animus of Speed, I guess. God, my throat is all, like, bothered today. Yeah, you know what? I'm willing to do that. Fine. I will do that. I don't totally love it, but it gets me through the next several rings pretty cleanly. Unfortunately, I can't fit my other dude. Oh well. So be it. Yeah, I'm willing to Ember Drain myself to just keep him alive. If that didn't work, I was going to be real pissed. Unfortunately, I do skip on playing the Wild with Sap because I don't have enough Ember for it. But, like, our dude is doing some solid work down here. I'll just do this now so we don't lose the damage shield. Yeah. I'll be honest, I totally spaced out that I didn't even need to use the ability because Animus of Speed has Quick. It's just been a while since I've used Animus of Speed. Because we don't need to use Animus of Speed normally. It is substantially better post the Lost Arsenal update, though. Alright, and now it just gets to get the kill. I could have also knocked off the damage shields with a Plink. Good to see you, Gold Poke. So Prism Retrieval is cute. We're gonna take Perils, and by that I mean I'm gonna double check. I'm pretty confident we didn't use Perils yet. No, but we did already use Furnace Tap. But we didn't use Void Binding or Perils. Did this hero aspect fail yesterday? Yeah, it was the first one we tried yesterday, and I failed with it. But we did end up doing other things. I guess I'll take another Steel Enhancer, even though it gives me another Calcified Ember, which I don't love. God, my throat is just messed up today. Savagery Pyre, underrated Pyre, that's right up there with Herzl's, Entropy, Fira. I mean, Savagery is good, it's just that it's situationally good. Like, there are a lot of times when it's not actually going to be very helpful for you. If you are specifically picking your Pyre every time, instead of doing random, then it is certainly a lot better, because you can pick it into clan combos that can use it best. And yes, I do know that you're also just trying to give me grief by putting Entropy up there as one of the best Pyres, when we all know my feelings on Entropy. Okay, so here's the deal. I can either go here looking for, like, holdover Perils, or, like, intrinsic Steel Enhancer, or Wildwood Sap, or I go here just looking for equipment. Namely, we want to see Void Armament or Iron Tongue. And I think we're going to go here. Because if we get that, that is such a huge buff for us. Remind me, did we use engine upgrade? Either we didn't or I forgot to record it. I'm pretty sure we didn't use it. Because I think we had it on the first run that we failed. Either way... Superfood with Equalizing Ring will save the day. Yeah, imagine that. I mean, it's not totally the worst, but... Either way, we don't really want Exile's Diadem, though it does give extra HP. Oh, yeah, it totally is right there. I looked at it, couldn't see it for some reason. I was like, Spell Sanctum and Awakening Thicket in some other room that... I don't know. Don't know why I just couldn't see it. Fair enough. Either way, not taking it now. Anyways, the Exile's Diadem, the extra HP is kind of nice. Don't think we really care, though, especially because we're going to be getting damage shields later. Okay, well, that is one of the things we wanted. And we very much do not want to make it deployable because we want to pull it out with Attuned Whetstone. I will say our life just got a lot easier. No. I mean, none of the things we can get here I really care about. If the banished one were in here, I would definitely take it, because it would be a way to get damage shields. This one gives Conduit, if it's the one I'm thinking of. And we could take another Wildwood Sap. I'm just going to skip on that. It's sort of okay, especially since it gives actual max HP now. It is not the worst thing to use on Primordium. But, nonetheless. Okay, so... here's what we're going to do. We're going to set up like this now. And so we're going to... yeah, unfortunately I can't increase the attack, but I can increase the HP, and that's fine enough for me at the moment. But we're going to give her the sweep and a bunch of extra attack. And then we're going to watch her slay. I would love to do the Wildwood Sap. Too bad. Yep, that's fairly satisfying to watch. Don't think I care about the Immortal Trade. I could have given it to Primordium. But yeah, there are things I could have done. Doesn't really matter. Okay, anyways, that was a huge pickup for us. Makes us incredibly strong by comparison. Technically, I am denying myself some extra kills to power up with. Doesn't matter. Cycle of Life is cute. Since it is a way to get more HP on Primordium, and it gives us spikes, which he does pass on both of those. I think I don't care. The Forever Consumed is sort of appealing, but I don't think I really care. Wrong rare spell. What rare spell did you want it to be? Yeah, and I believe I can take any of these. Wretch? Yeah. I mean, admittedly, Wretch isn't as good with Superfood. But, yes, it would still be useful. I think we're just skipping this. So the cycle of life is kind of appealing. Alright, well, we're skipping all those, and then we should, I think, just be taking draw, basically. Okay, regardless, we're in pretty solid shape now. I don't have any reason to go to the Merchant of Steel. We're gonna go here. Wing Steel is not bad. Lightstone Casing is also not bad. I would really love, like, Chain of Gems. Yeah, I'll take Bone Dog's Pendant. Now, do I really want Wing Steel? Kind of. I think I don't actually need it. Split Mask is a maybe. I don't think we really need it, though. I think let's just thin some stuff out and be content. And that's good enough for now. I think we already used Feast, right? Yeah, we did. Alright. Well, it's a bit of a shame that we've already used up both Feast and Glutton's Maw, but that's fine. Yeah, I'm still pretty happy to just get the extra HP on you. We are giving off damage shields now, which is pretty nice, because then it also means that... okay, so you're dying, so I can do that with impunity. Anyways, with the quick, we are generally not losing the damage shields all that often. Well, that's not gonna work. Yeah, I tried. It was very unlikely to work. I still wanted it to be the case. Alas, no collector for us, sadly. I mean, in the ideal world, I'd be setting up on bottom floor. It's just kind of difficult for us to do so, because I need a turn, at least, to get rolling. It will be easier as I just get more natural permanent attack on the Animus. But still. Alright, well, let the murder commence. And there we go. Unfortunately, we didn't get the collector, but that's okay. Alright, so can't take Glutton's Maw. Could take Cave-In. Which honestly is sort of appealing. In that it lets me set up on mid-floor, but then actually be on bottom floor on later turns. Which can be helpful. I actually might want to do that. And then the Crucible extension basically doesn't matter. It kind of matters in that I could just start duping the Animus later. And then just have an army of multi-strike Animuses with high attack. Like, that's not the worst plan available to me. But we'll take the Cave-In, I guess. Even though that's a little questionable. Can't take Awakening Thicket. Not going to take Focus Growth, I don't think. Though it's sort of okay. And we're not going to take Bramble Ash. There was a world where I would have considered Bramble Ash if we had to go heavy on spikes with Superfood. I didn't want to do that, but it was possible. Anyways, we're going here, and we're going to hope that it is things we want. Can't take Glass Cannon. Not taking Equalizing Rings. Can't take Engine Upgrade. I will take that. Okay. Just as a reminder, pretty confident we hadn't used Bloodthirsty Blade yet. Yeah. Fair enough. I could take Inferno Room, but I don't think we need to. Could also do Boiler Room. Again, I suspect that doesn't really matter to me, though. As for the duping... Oh, before I forget, we need to make that deployable. I guess I'll do this. I don't know. I don't think that's terribly important to me, but hey. Okay. Well, top floor it is. I'm not going to play out the Hollow. Yeah, I don't love this. Well, you're going to get some corruption. Which is to say, you're going to get a lot of corruption. I do have some damage shields, but this might not be tenable since I don't have ways to get more damage shields. I can get lifesteal, though. Probably didn't need to do that. Yeah, I don't know. That was probably a mistake, because now I'm also going to be Ember Poor for the rest of the fight. Yeah, I don't know why I played both those there. If he were surviving for another turn, that would have been relevant, but he's not. Unfortunately, can't get the Collector again, but I was sort of expected. I do have less Ember Drain than I thought I was going to. Still not great that I Ember Drained myself, though, for a little benefit. Yeah, so we're about to run out of damage shields, which is when the corruption is actually going to start mattering. Okay, now the question is, do I think that I can win next turn, or do I need to just do the cave-in now? Oh, well, let's see what the cave-in looks like. Yeah, that was more or less my concern. Just out of curiosity, how close do we get? Yeah. Yeah, that's about what I was expecting. Okay, on to the backup plan. Unfortunately, I don't have enough capacity for other things I would like to do, and these guys are just a little too problematic for me. Like, it would be nice to get all the kills on these guys for the slave bonus, but it's just not gonna work. Also, we miss out on all the extra reanimate on the boss, but again, I kind of just have to accept that. Okay, we at least don't leak anything to the pyre, so that's some small mercy. And then the Animus just kind of murders. And we should be totally fine. I could be, like, setting up other units alongside, but I was trying to not share the slave bonuses. You get the collector for once. That I do. I didn't even realize I got the collector this way. But it is nice. Don't dislike that, for sure. And thus, the mighty slays continue. Alright. I will take Void Binding. I will take Engraft. Okay, well, let's see if we hit things that we want. Okay. Well, that was not what I wanted. I guess we're doing this anyways. Sadly, can't give another ability to the Animus. Oh no, it's fine. I guess we'll do that. We'll see what happens. The other ability might have been more helpful, but fine. What does Benevolence do? If that's the one that I took, which it is, then that one heals friendly units to full health and gives an extra 5 HP. I probably should have taken the other defensive one, which advances him to the front and heals to full and grants armor equal to the amount of health that was healed. Nonetheless, here we are. So I could just Ember Drain myself a whole ton, but be wildly powerful. Like, I'm gonna take damage from the Scourge cards, I guess. Except when I get the Engraft. Which technically I should do on the Awoken Hollow, but hey. Yes, look at us go. So powerful, so bold and beautiful. I mean, I really didn't need to do all that, is the thing. And therefore, probably was better for me not to do. Because I could have just avoided taking damage, but whatever. It was still cute. And I've got plenty of HP to spare. It's not like it's really that big a deal if I take some damage. Forgot for a moment that I actually have to target who I'm attacking, even though it's actually hitting the whole floor. Unfortunately, he's going to get the kill on Kale at this rate. I kind of want to give Kale... I kind of want to give him Lifesteal, but I can't because it also gives an Ember Drain. Alas. Oh well. Would have been nice if I could have killed more things with the Animus. But alas. Okay, so. Cycle of Life still vaguely appealing. We have already used Old Growth. We have not used Unleash the Wildwood. I'm going to take that, I guess, even though it's a bit questionable whether it's going to be helpful. And we're going to take Extra Draw, I guess. After 1 million Slay bonus procs, Animus does not get that one Slay on Kale. The run is ruined, confirmed. He does feel like it. God, like... We have so much permanent power already, though. It's a shame we can't, like, fuse the Bloodthirsty Blade to Iron Tongue, though. I mean, technically we can, but it doesn't matter because it has fixed attack. But it would be nice to late game dupe the blade and fuse it and then give one to Primordium. Nonetheless, here we are. We don't need the Merchant of Steel. We're gonna go here hoping for Void Armaments. God, it's the same shit like every time. If I take Incapacity, I would take Steward's Quarters right now, so then I'd have enough to fit the Awoken Hollow, which would be kind of cute, since it would be built-in healing, and it would be a way to get Primordium's HP up. Didn't mean to go out of there. I mean, this is my last chance to fuse equipment, so I guess we take the Meat Shield and fuse it in. It's just more HP, so fine. It's just not what I wanted. Like, we're still in good shape overall by, you know, a pretty hefty margin, but it would have been nice. Would have appreciated it. Okay, but again, we should be largely okay. And if I can get a holdover at the next shop, then things will look even better. Because my only real downside right now is that well, other than needing to wait a turn before I have sweep. The only major downsides are that I will struggle to deal with the Pyrolites. Okay, there we go. And now we've got sweep, and sky's the limit. think we're just up against a Thane here. Oh, and I do have the engraft. Well, I did this different than I meant to, but we're gonna do this so I can then cave in you, so then I can then do this, which is not really important, but that's fine. It's cute, and I don't really have to deal with too much Ember Drain, though I am still taking the damage here like a chump. How you doing, Glacier? Good to see you. Yeah, I should have just not worried about it. Also, I don't even need him on this floor. It's probably better if he weren't on this floor, because now there's a possibility that he steals slays on the Thane. Doing okay? Glad to hear it. As long as okay is not code for not very good and just don't want to talk about it. As it sometimes might be. How you doing, Splat? Alright, look at that beautiful Thane action. Just for the sake of it, have as much attack as I can. Code 4, I feel I don't want to talk about it, is I'm alive. I mean, yeah, makes sense. That is how a lot of people say. Okay, so we could take the wrench. Again, it's not really that impressive for me, but I am still going to do it. It at least means that I just have a way to keep passing on damage shields, and also if I do get holdover on like the perils, it does do good work for us. Is it necessary? No, but we're taking it anyways. And we haven't used Awoken Rail Spike, have we? Will Wretch bring back the champion? Yes, that is why we're taking it. I think we're taking Awoken Rail Spike here. I just wanted to be like ultimately clear that I haven't taken it. I'm pretty sure that's because we took it on different champion or a run that we failed. I don't know. Either way, here we are. It's not on the list. I'm going to trust that that is the case. Yeah, we do want Chain of Gems. That's kind of cute. Yeah, I don't really need to, but we'll go ahead and do it. Unfortunately, didn't get the one that I wanted, but we'll do this at least. Not actually helpful. I mean, the Curse Vines is fine. Yeah, I have a lot of Calcified Embers, and unfortunately didn't hit what I wanted to hit. I mean, we can just, like, avoid playing the Ember Drain cards and we'll be fine. I mostly should have just removed cards. That's what I should have done. There's clearly a cultural difference here. That would mean I am not okay and I want to talk about it, where fine would be I am drifting further and further into a pit of despair, and the mere thought of talking about it would put me over the edge. At least where I am from. That's definitely a different experience from here. I don't know. None of this really matters. I guess we'll do that, even though I suspect none of this matters. The problem is that I just don't really want to play any of the Ember Drain stuff in the Titan fight. It's not that big a deal because Pyro Savagery already starts with a higher attack, and also I do on occasion get extra Ember with the Engraft or the Perils, and I could have duped the Perils, which I almost did, but overall it's fine. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna do it like this so we can get rid of that. And you're going to start getting Corruption, but that's fine. Primordium will give a bunch of damage shields. Because he's giving 6 a turn currently. I could just do the Void Binding now and accept I'm taking a little bit of Scourge damage. I mean, that is the better play, probably. Although if I were going to do that, I should have also just play the prior Perils on him. But that's fine. Ooh, the 1 card draw. I mean, again, I could be doing this on the Animus for higher attack, but it's okay. Yeah, this is part of the problem. Is I can't get rid of the Calcified Emperor, which again matters very little, but that's fine. Anyways, we're holding on to these so that then on this turn. Oh look, it's Primordium again. Oh, except I can't fit him. Didn't plan that out. I mean, that's fine. We don't really need to have the Hollow here in the future. Also, if I can get the Perils, I could just then use the Cave in here. I mean, it's fine. It's not like I'm in danger of dying. It just does feel a little silly. Yes, look at us go. Alright, well, I can at least get rid of that, which appeals to me. And we just kind of murder things. I could feed Primordium to that Steward and make him beastly and strong, but we're not going to. Yeah, I mean, there's not really any reason to do this. We'll just go ahead and do that. Like, we'll be able to kill Seraph, no problem. We have 21 damage shields. We do massive damage. Somehow, we'll be okay. But yeah, there are unfortunately clumsy aspects of my deck, and that's sad, but manageable. And there we go. Anyways, we took a tiny bit of damage. We could have avoided it, probably. But that's okay. If only we had gotten Void Armament, that would have been nice. Okay. Well, time to smash the Titans. And I think we're probably just not going to play out the cave-in this time, or at least not in the same manner. Because I think what we're going to do is we're going to set up like that. Oh, I didn't actually mean to play you first. That was a mistake. Not one that matters, really, but it was a mistake. Kind of want to do the Void Binding, but I think more important to me is just that I get to play the Pyre Lights regularly. And like, yeah, I'll be passing on more sap now. I'm not terribly worried about that. Okay, we play you out, you get damage shields, yada yada yada. You're gonna die anyways. I mean, I could save you if I really wanted to, but I don't really want to. Oof. Oh, that's annoying, but fine. Okay, so we'll do that now. Yeah, we're still a ways away on killing Dominion. So we'll just do that. I mean, we basically have killed Savagery and Entropy as is anyways. Oh no, I'm making the enemy stronger. However, will I cope? Yeah, again, it is a bit of a shame that I'm not really able to use the Void Bindings. But, alas, so be it. Yeah, so you're down. We just need to wait for Savagery for next turn. You know what, just for kicks. Technically, if I hadn't done that, I could have saved myself a little bit of Pyre HP by having enough Ember to do the... never mind. I can still kill mid-turn like this. Because I was forgetting that we get to do that. Regardless, there we go! Took some damage on the Titans. Not a big deal. That was pretty clean. Like I was saying last night, it was very possible that Superfood would be very good for us. Also very possible that Superfood would be very bad for us. But it went smoothly. It was everything that we wanted it to be. I mean, not quite. It would have been nice if we'd gotten Void Armament, but still, like, the Attuned Whetstone into getting the early Iron Tongue was everything we needed, basically. Getting the Bloodthirsty Blade also helped our early game. Not early game, early turns. but also she just had massive attack from Pyre of Savagery as well. And so by the end here, she had essentially natural 376 attack, which is really good. That's a lot. Anyways, that was pretty smooth, which means we can put Primordium on the board. There it is. And finally, we're up to 16. It took us a while to get to 16, but here we are. So, only 4 more champions to go. We've already failed with Prince and Wildenton once each. I don't remember what clan combo we did for Prince. I think next time we do Prince, we're doing Banish. But I don't remember what I did before. I don't remember if I took Banish or if I did something else. Lazarus is also not bad. I think I probably did Lazarus with Prince is what I did. Which I still kind of want to do. But we'll see. It's just that I've used a couple clans way more than others with this challenge. Namely, Banished and Stygian have been the most common secondary clans. We did Hireborn once or twice as secondary. We did Luna once as secondary. I don't remember if we did Underlegion as secondary ever, but mostly it's been Banished and Stygian. Anyways, yeah, we might do Fade next because she's the only one that we haven't tried yet. That's probably what we're doing. That said, what are we going to pair Fade with? In Monster Train 1, I would have done Hellhorned. Still might want to do Hellhorned. I think Lazarus is the better option, though. Because Lazarus still has some ways to kill Fade with like self-targeting spells. The Reanimate also works very nice with Fade as another way to do things. Particularly Reanimate is going to be very good with Little Icarus. Or at least it can be very good with Little Icarus. Yeah, pretty sure we're doing Lazarus. And yeah, we'll do Fade. So, there we go. Hey, thanks for the raid. How you been, Dells? While you're deciding on Fade, why not do Penumbra again for old time's sake? How you doing, Tom? And no, we are not doing Penumbra again. I really want them to rework Penumbra. Maybe someday. Oh man, I can second. How dare you. Anyways, we're definitely starting with Secret Ingredient. And then we need to decide what pyre we're starting with. So, for Fade, we've got Firelight, Eternal Flame, and Little Icarus. Yeah, I agree. Wouldn't mind seeing a rework. I think it's a pretty popular position to get Penumbra rework, at least for Monstrous and Architect. There are still some people who like Glutton, but I basically see no one talk positively about Architect or Monstrous in their current state. And again, I think it's like the perfect Venn diagram for a rework in that it's both bad and boring, which is like, that's the circle right there of what should be reworked. I like Architect, but do you actually like Architect, Tom? Or do you just like the idea of Architect? Ooh, Gorge Path still works the other two, they just don't do anything interesting. Yeah, I mean, I don't particularly like the Gorge Path either, but it at least, like, functions a lot better in Monster Train 2 than it did in Monster Train 1. Whereas Monstrous is just pretty terrible in Monster Train 2, especially in a world where there are, like, you know, double 500 HP heavies and waves. And then Architect also basically doesn't matter for a lot of reasons. Also, like, Monstrous compares pretty unfavorably to, for instance, Guild Mother Gilda. Like, yeah, she has lower attack at base, but she doesn't force you into taking capacity to even use her. And she also does a wholly different thing, in that she gives you free money and Dragon Sword. And you can even fit another unit alongside her before you play her down. Like, Architect loves Cannibalize, that's about it. But, like, that's not even really that true in Monster Train 2. Because, thanks to deployment phase, you want to be playing out most of your units before you can even execute that combo. Unless you happen to have Celestial Sails, which is a Luna artifact, and it is pulling Cannibalize for you. Like, it's just not, like, it's not easy to do, and it's not very helpful even when you do it most of the time. I like Architect, but feel the same way I do with Talos and Inspires, to feel like more fun possibilities exist, even if the current ones are okay. I feel more positively about Talos and Inspires than I do about anything Architect is doing. Because really the best that can be said for Architect is that it's essentially a free body on the floor that does a moderate amount of damage. There is nothing interesting or fun or exciting about Architect, and it's not even particularly strong. Whereas, like, Talos, as much as people like to hate on Talos, Talos, I think, is pretty... Talos is not the flashiest champion, but she's pretty decent and strong at what she does. Because she's very flexible, she's agnostic to what your game plan is, more or less, and she provides solid benefits in any of her pathways. Like, there are ways you can do good things with Talos, even if she's not the most exciting champion. Whereas Architect just doesn't, like, do anything. Anyways, all this said, back to the original point. Here are the 3 paths for Fade. And now we need to decide what Pyre Heart we're going to use. We definitely want Bogworm for one of these. Preferably for for Firelight. Eternal Flame could also benefit. But we're definitely doing Bogworm for one of them. Probably doing Herzls for another. Don't know about the other. There's one world where maybe we take Wings Spirit, but that's something. Wings is pretty terrible most of the time. Surefire way to get Jane Grant to talk about Penumbra. I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. It's a topic that is deserving of discussion. Anyways, we're taking Bogworm. We'll start it off. We'll see what happens. Sal's a man who loves to talk about balance sometimes. Yeah. More than just sometimes. I mean, I do really love to talk about, like, you know, about design, and in particular, Monster Train is something I'm very passionate about, and I've certainly sunk a lot of hours into this game, and so I feel like I can talk about it pretty exhaustively. But hey. Something Shadow Siege. Yeah, I have been pushing for literal years to get Shadow Siege updated. And I'm hoping that they do. Like, the consensus right now seems to be pretty negative on Shadow Siege, so I'm hoping that post Lost Arsenal, at some point they'll want to rework it. But who knows? Who knows? Anyways, I normally check out the artifact first, but let's find out what our options are. Firelight is definitely the best option for Bogworm, so long as Bogworm cooperates. Mostly this is fine, but the silencing can be annoying. Either way, we're taking Firelight. Mold Braces is okay. It's not that exciting, but it's fine. We'll take that, I guess. I want them to add an artifact for Remnant that is just the first unit you play each turn dies. Or, like, first unit you play each turn dies and is reformed. I would enjoy that artifact. What if Shadow Siege was 0 cost and a champ, and it should give you extra capacity when you play it? Yeah, what if, Tom? What if? What if? Dies and then reformed. Yeah, I'd like that more. The problem is that there are plenty of situations where I wouldn't really want it to be reformed, and also I don't think an artifact needs to necessarily solve every problem for me. And so I think it is still a fun and interesting artifact if it only kills for you, and then leaves you to still have, you know, some way to work around that. Anyways, I think we're just doing this. The problem with Firelight is just that you can have some bad early turns. We do have the Purifying Cleanse, which helps. We can also get Reform, or not Reform, Reanimate off of the Secret Ingredients, which can help. We also have It's Alive, which is interesting. Okay. I think we're still going to play these out, see what happens. Is there an artifact that reforms the first unit that dies each round? No. The closest is, why am I blanking on the name? Votive Key, which gives Endless to the first unit played each turn. I want Architect to let me exceed the 7-unit cap. Yeah, if it did that, that would be helpful. Like, there are a lot of reasons why I don't think they'd ever do that, mind you. But that would give it an actual purpose in life. Okay, well, let's do that. And then we are going to preemptively give these guys burnout. Okay. How exciting. Unfortunately, we can't get a blue infusion off of this. Yeah, and we're not going to kill you. I will leave it right there, I guess. Yeah, that's not the turn I want. But, again, the main thing is that we avoided the worst-case scenario. I will do this so I can get the kill on him, so we can get more gold. But yeah, the worst-case scenario was just these guys burning out too early. And we avoided that, and everything's fine and wonderful, and here we are. We don't really need to do this because we're ending the fight before they get up to the pyre. And there we go. Ta-da! Okay, so we've already got a Purifying Cleanse. I don't think we need Molded, even though it might sort of technically be helpful, and Wicked Blaze does not help. We might want to take the Molded just to have higher density of Reform cards. And considering splitting these cards across the 3 runs, we aren't going to need Molded or any Reform cards for Eternal Flame, because she has Endless. I mean, technically we could reform other things, I guess, but I don't think we need to do this, but it would be nice as just a little bit of reliability. But I'm just gonna skip anyways. Twisted Assistant is sort of interesting. It would clog up the reform pool. I think we're gonna not do that. Pseudoscience, we're gonna skip on. An explosive reaction, I kind of want. It's a good card, and if we weren't doing Hat Trick, I'd probably take it right now for sure. I still might take it. Okay. I'm not going to take explosive reaction. Even if I do kind of want to. Now, what are we doing? So I kind of want to go here because ideally we get Paraffin Enforcer or we get Lady of the House. Preferably Lady of the House right now. But either one is pretty solid for us. Could also go here. Getting like Test Subject Alpha is good. Or even like Plague Doctor is good. Also gives us a chance to start bulking up our dudes with upgrades. Going here... Don't know what I would want. I could like Permafrost to Primitive Mold. I could even just like hold over a Primitive Mold. And like those are fine. Yeah, let's do this, I guess. Okay. Interesting. Can't say that's what I was looking for. Yeah, how do I feel about that? I mean, Legion of Wax is sort of okay for us. The problem is just the... So, the problem with Legion of Wax right now for us is that... So, it has a couple problems. Namely, we have bad wave clear. If I had taken the explosive reaction, that would greatly change that. Also, the capacity is a problem, though we do have bog worms, which makes that a lot more doable. Okay, fine. We'll take it. We'll see what happens. We'll see if I can make it work. Sure, I guess we'll do that, and we're going to do this. I probably should be doing Spell Chain on the Purifying Cleanse, actually. Well, no. We're just going to do the Secret Ingredient. Secret Ingredient is very versatile. Okay, here's where we got the extra capacity. So, like, I could just put down Legion of Wax and the Tycoon here. That is an option that's available to me. Spell Change starter card, very ambitious. Also very versatile. Corian Salamander with the Rich Streameroni. I mean, it's very good. Okay. So now we can get you back. Unfortunately, you don't actually split like this. But I was hoping to get the blue infusion. Yeah, I'm gonna take a lot of pyro damage at this rate, though. Well, I'm gonna take 10. At least to start. This is the problem, is I really want you to split, and you're not going to. Yeah, I just don't do enough damage with them healing all the time, and that's an issue. Well, I mean, maybe we're fine just taking a bunch of damage like a chump. Alright, fine. We'll see what happens. God, we're so close to it being enough damage, and it's just not. That's frustrating. Yeah, I don't know that this is gonna work. I probably shouldn't have filled up top floor, but hey. Yeah, no surprise. Yeah, unfortunately, because I'd only reformed these guys once, they then instantly burn out, basically. Which is not particularly helpful to my needs. Unhelpful. Yeah, we need to retry this. That's fine. This is what I was trying to avoid. So, that's fine. We're gonna go with the much more reasonable play of this. Yeah, we're probably not going to get you, but that's okay-ish. I mean, I would very much like to get the collector, especially because we're not getting the bonus from the... Sure, I guess we do that. Anyways, we're not getting the Tycoon. Yeah, I guess we do that. I am taking a bunch of damage still, but oh well, sometimes take damage. And you just suck it up like a chump. I mean, overall, this is going a lot better. Not perfect by any means, but a lot better. I'm not really doing a very good job of buffing the Legion, though. Already have the kill, so we don't actually need to get that fancy here. But just for good measure, there we go. Ta-da! Anyways, I took some damage. I didn't get extra gold off of the Tycoon at all, basically. So, be it. Here we are. Right. Could take a draft. Technically useful. Not gonna do it, though. We're not gonna take a Whiplash. We're not gonna take an Entombed Explosive. Still kind of want to take the draft, but unless I get my deck real thin, it's not gonna be very helpful. But, like, it would be nice, and technically is sort of useful with Bogworm. But we'll skip. Again, Explosive Reaction is appealing. And we might want to take it. The biggest thing is I want some way to kill my stupid Legion to make it split. But we'll see what we can do. Let's skip, I guess. It's fine if I lose this run. I just wish that Legion passed on equipment to its splits to kind of mimic how it would inherit the infusion across the splits like it did in Monster Train 1. So you want Crushing Demise? Yes, that is an option. That's not what I wanted. I mean, I could do the Burnout 1 on it, and then some other things. But that is a problem. I mean, even the just, like, plus attack isn't that bad. So this is Wildwood Sap. This is the Spell Weakness one. And this is Pyre Cask. And we're just going to skip on all that. The Pyre Cask could be okay. I don't know. Didn't really care. Let's remove a little bit. Actually, probably should have kept a Spear Steward instead of a Shield Steward, but hey, I don't know. We got problems. If I'd gotten Multi-Strike there, that certainly would have helped quite a bit. Obviously, I did not. But we'll see what happens. Well, I did want to do other things, but I am willing to do that for now. Problem is I am again lining up to take just a bunch of pyre damage. Which I can't say I love. I mean, I could say it. I would be lying, but... technically it's a thing I could say. Because again, I just don't have good ways to, like, split things. I should probably just let the dude die at this point. Yeah, so the flagellant is going to hurt real bad, which is why I was talking about this being awful, and I'm not sure that I can handle this. If I had more mixing this turn, it would look a lot better. Or if I just, like, let the Legion of Wax die at some point, then I could reform him, then I could have another one on a different floor. Like, that all would be pretty good. But that's not what I've done. Yeah, here's the problem. But unfortunately, he is still going to kill the pyre because this guy is healing. There is maybe a way in which I can do this slightly differently. I mean, I really should just restart this battle, but just for the sake of trying to not... This should work. Alright, and then he dies to the unstable, and we're not quite dead yet. And then we, like, absolutely win Relentless. Like, that's not a problem for us. What's the hat trick challenge? Give me one moment and I will explain. Let me just finish this battle first. Oh, God. I mean, I'm not playing particularly well here. Oh, God. Okay, well, that's an interesting set of options. I'm going to tell you right now, scrap for parts is pretty appealing. Yeah, we're taking scrap for parts. God, Lady of the House and Paraffin Enforcer are both pretty decent for us. Paraffin Enforcer is a lot less good for us at the moment, but I can still take Lady of the House. The only problem is I am going to run into capacity problems. I kind of want remove consume on this, but the main thing is that I want intrinsic on it, probably. Anyways, I think we'll skip on the Lady of the House, though I am setting myself up for great Unknowable Despair. And then I do kind of want Ember. Probably want Draw. Okay. So, to explain the hat trick challenge, since Carrot Guy asked about it. So, the idea is we pick a clan combo, and then we have to win 3 runs back to back to back. Each of those runs uses a different one of the champion's paths, and any cards that are used in one clan or in one winning run cannot be used in the subsequent runs. So, we essentially have to budget the cards from the clan combo across all 3 runs. And like I said, we have to use a different path on each of them. No cross-pathing, yada, yada, yada. So, that's what we have to do. This is our first run with Fade. It sounds horribly hard. It hasn't been too bad mostly. We've had a couple losses. Unfortunately, like, right at the end with Prince and Wildenton and all that. But mostly it's gone pretty well. We also died, I think, twice with Bullet. Yeah, we're also swapping Pyres each time as well, not repeating Pyres. What do you do if you don't get the 3rd path you need on the 3rd run? Just reroll until we get that path. Like, yeah, it will break the win streak counter, but I don't care. But yes, we just have to take the path that we haven't used yet. Since that's the entire point of the challenge. Anyways, we're going here. And then we're hopefully getting intrinsic. Holdover is sort of nice, but not really what I need. I will minus cost one of these. Especially since I took draw. Damn it. Well, I wish I'd seen these in a different order, if that was the case. I guess we'll do this. And then we're going to dupe that. And then we're going to, unfortunately, not be able to get rid of another card. Here we are. Alright, Jesus hates you today. Yeah, it's not cooperating. I mean, it was good for Superfood at least. Yeah, I really wish that... The problem is, it's alive advances, and I don't want it to advance. I also wish that I had green infusion right here. I mean, I maybe could have done purple. If I'd gone purple on the first one, then I would have used that to be helpful. I could also just throw the Legion of Wax up front here, but I don't know how helpful that is. Anyways, if I started with purple, I could have fished for... what am I trying to say? Could have fished for root, which would have been nice. Yeah, so this is part of the issue. Is that these guys are just too large as is. Yep, this is not going well. Got a lot of... I've got truly a whole legion. But it does not matter. Yeah, I need to not be playing these guys out at the beginning because they just take up too much space. This is the problem. Alright. So let's do this different. My life is awkward. I need better capacity, or just need, like, Smidge Stone on the Legion of Wax. But I don't have that. Okay. So. Teeny Legions. That would be nice. Maybe play everything but Legion, try to fish it with Scrap. Seems like a bit slow for scaling as well. Yeah, I mean, that's maybe an option, but it's just really not exactly what we want. Yeah, you're going to murder me at this rate. I don't have anything to fish for. Actually, I forget how this works, if it will still pull something in the discard pile. That's probably the best we get. Alternatively, I can just do that with Fade. I don't know. Life is pain. I mean, let's see what happens. But my deck is so bad. And, like, I know I'm trying to be conservative in a couple ways, but, like, it's real bad, I will say. Unfortunately, I don't have enough capacity for you, but... Yeah, I kind of neglected the part where I didn't need to do some of the things that I did. Either way, let's do this and start a Legion down there. Hello, how goes the fading? Really badly. Really badly. I mean, like, we're right on the edge of being able to recover. But at the moment, not going well. I was hoping for other things there. Namely, I was hoping for Reanimate for Fade, but hey. The issue is that this is all going to fall apart in a moment. Since I don't have capacity to, like, play out Fade again or anything. What do you mean? There's plenty of fire health. 5 points higher than it needs to be. I mean, yes, I do ascribe to that notion, but it's more the general growing despair of my life. That is the problem. That was not a helpful draw. Well, The Growing Despair of My Life is the name of my new band. Seems fitting. Okay, yeah. Anyways, I thought we probably would have the kill here just because Legion of Wax does represent quite a lot of power in Relentless. Especially because the ones that come out don't have burnout on them. Or at least not all of them do. Pretty sure they have none. Since I didn't actually reform these guys, those were the original one played. Okay, we're probably taking Crushing Demise. I was hoping to avoid this, but it is maybe a solution to my problems. Oh. Hype for November 5th? You mean the update? Yes. Yeah, it's got a lot of cool stuff coming in it. I'm looking forward to showing off the new bosses, you guys. Among other things. But the new bosses are definitely, like, the coolest thing. We'll also have to do the new dimensional challenges at some point as well. And all that jazz. Is Crushing Demise floor limited or any floor? It is limited to the same floor. Basically, every card in this game only affects the floor you play it on, unless it says otherwise. Yeah, taking Crushing Demise. We are going to skip on these. The lack of bosses was my only complaints. This update fixes that. Yeah, I mean, I have some minor complaints here and there, but yes, that's something I've been wanting for quite a while was additional bosses. And the new bosses are pretty cool for the most part. I look forward to being able to talk about them in more detail. The article that showed them off gave a few details, but didn't go into like great depth on them. I think we're going here, and we're looking for either Multi-Strike or Smidge Stone. Okay, well, done. I still have lots of problems. Oh, Reforming Ooze. I mean, I should have looked at the banner first. But, I mean, we're not taking Reforming Ooze. Whatever. It would be good. Plague Doctor also could be good. And now we either are doing more scrap for parts or we're doing the Crushing Demise. 55 new mutators is crazy. It is a lot. I don't care too much about the mutators, though, but I know there are some people who are going to like that a lot. Interested to see how they're balanced compared to the current bosses. Like, you mean, are they intentionally balanced to be the same difficulty, or are they meant to be harder or weaker? Or just purely curious how they shake out, intentions or otherwise. We're still delaying the golding of the cards. I mean, at this point, mostly the ones I have to master are just rare units for the most part. Like, yes, I did not make a big point of trying to master cards for a long time. And some of them are also, like, the new cards that got added in the Lost Arsenal. So, like, Great Decay is the only Under Legion one that we haven't done. This is Reforming Ooze. This is Legion of Wax. Don't remember what these ones are. One of them is Spreading Spores. Don't remember what the Umbra ones are. It's probably Shadow Siege and Morsel Maid and Overgorger, because I basically just never go for Umbra banners. Yeah, how you were describing them the other day seemed a bit daunting. Yeah, I can't talk about them in too much detail. I will say, because I assume I can say at least this much, it's just that their intention is to be as difficult as the current Ring 3 and Ring 6 bosses. Yeah, personally, I don't care about mutators either, but 55 is a massive number. Yeah, it's a huge number, but honestly, I don't even know what's included in that because I don't pay attention to the mutators. I could also just take a Legion of Wax and put another one on a different floor. It's honestly not the worst. I think we're just doing Crushing Demise, though. My deck is a mess. We have the ability to stabilize, though. Oh, God, I probably shouldn't do this, but hey. Why do I want another boss to hit when I can hit Gale? Fair enough. Yeah, I really wish that I had just like all the capacity on one floor. But we'll see. See what happens. Okay. Yeah, let's actually not do it like that. The problem is I'm very slow to scale, though. And ideally... I mean, this is a little better. Still not perfect by any means. We're going to put you up front so you can die and then I can reform you. Yeah, you have enough health that'll just kill you next turn. And I just have this giant awkward mess of everything. But that's okay, kind of. No, I just wanted reanimators. That's so much to ask. Well, I wasn't gonna do this, but I will do that, I guess, so I can kill that. Yeah, and you do a burnout, or reanimate, so you're not actually going to be fully gone. Well, that's fine. When you start to run, what do you normally get first? Champion Path or Relic? I normally do the Artifact. There are a lot of reasons for that, but generally that's the better play. I mean, it's sort of personal preference. Like, it's fine if you don't do that, but generally that's better. Yeah, that doesn't actually help all that much. Let's just mix, I guess. Again, I don't need the spikes. I want reanimate. That's what I want. Oh, God. I just wish I had the capacity to put Fade on the floor as well. I've made a grand mess of things. Care to elaborate a bit on some reasons? Yeah, give me just a moment to figure out what I'm doing with this giant pile of despair. So mainly the reasoning is that there's greater variance in what you're going to see in the artifacts than what you're going to see on the champion paths. I should have used the other one. That was not permafrosted, but hey. And so, especially, there are a number of artifacts that are going to be more game warping than a lot of the champion paths are going to be. And even if you are aiming for a particular champion path, you have a 50% chance to hit that on the first forge, and you still have a good chance to hit it later in the run if you really need it. But so anyways, I think that overall it is better to try and adapt to what you see in the artifact pool rather than to try to make a plan on your champion path and then try to pick an artifact to support it. Either one works, but you gain a lot more info from seeing your artifacts than you do seeing your champion pool, basically. Oh no, it's Quoto! However shall we deal with them? I should have used the scrap for parts on top floor to gain a little bit more gold, but I didn't think about it. I mean, realistically, my attack scaling is pretty terrible. It's just the fact that I have so many attacks here that it does not matter. What was the meme with Quoto, by the way? The meme with Quoto is that he's just bad. He basically poses no challenge on any given run and is the easiest boss in the game. It is a holdover from Monster Train 1 where there was a boss called Living Armor, which... Living Armor... So, like, bosses in Monster Train are essentially designed to be a check of some sort on your deck. And Living Armor, and to a slightly lesser degree, Quoto, are essentially a check on, do you have damage scaling and or do you have defense scaling? Essentially, is your deck doing the one major thing that it needs to be doing in every deck? It's a little less bad with Quoto because it comes out on ring 4 or 5, whatever, as opposed to Living Armor, which was right before Seraph. And so you had, like, all run long to get to Living Armor. But the point is that Quoto basically just asking, is your deck a decent deck? As opposed to other bosses like Kel, or Athane, or Rax, who at least present some sort of problem for certain decks. Like, Rax says, if you're setting on the top floor, you better have a way to deal with this, because it might just fuck you. Same with, like, the Reanimate boss, who gets to 20 Reanimate on top floor. Like, that one really punishes you for having bad defense, or even, like, decent defense, and or just having, like, a single large attack. But again, Quoto is just, are you doing damage? If so, you win the fight. Like, that's why I mock Quoto each and every moment. We are not taking Sacrificial Resurrection. If we hadn't done the Legion of Wax shenanigans that we've got, maybe. But here we are. But you aren't doing damage, though. Again, even with this deck, doesn't matter. Like, we're doing a moderate amount of damage, and we have a moderate amount of defense, and that's enough to beat Quoto. And, like, not to be mean to people, especially, like, you know, newer players, but... Like, I see some people complain about Quoto needing to be, like, toned down because they're, like, impossible to beat. And, like, that really does just mean that you're not building your deck well. Like, again, you basically just need to have some damage scaling and some defense scaling. Sometimes you don't even need the defense scaling to beat Quoto. But, anyways, he's just a meaningless boss. Like, he's a cool idea. It's just that he doesn't really stand as any meaningful obstacle. I guess if your damage isn't absurd and your defense is legitimately terrible, Quoto could theoretically kill you, but getting to ring 5 to begin with kind of requires a deck that checks the boxes anyway. Yeah, that's largely what I'm saying, is that to have gotten to this point, you basically have to already be doing that, and to get to the end of the run, you also already have to be doing that. And so Quoto doesn't, like, require you to build your deck in any particularly different way. Again, compared to, like, every other boss that does present challenges for, like, certain types of decks. Like, Ajax, again, also is very bad for, like, Pyrogel-focused decks that have very low base attack, where it doesn't matter if you have, like, 100 Pyrogel on Ajax if your units are all down at 0 attack and have no way to proc the Pyrogel. I've seen Quoto thump me, but generally with starting decks where I'm still going, what is even this Clayton's gimmick? Yeah, and, like, again, I'm being a little harsh here. And, like, yeah, it's fine to lose to Quoto when you're, like, learning the game and stuff, and you're not, like, comfortable with the clan, but, again, more or less, Quoto's, like, deck check is just, are you doing the basic things that the deck needs to do to function? I'm so happy they removed the whole mid and top floor Covenant modifiers. I don't think they were that bad. I think it's good for them to have removed them overall, but I don't think they were a big deal in Monster Train 1. And I think at least the Ember Drain top floor was at least sort of interesting, because there were a lot of ways to like play around it. It wouldn't have been nearly as meaningful in this game with deployment phase, though. And overall, they've done a number of other things to kind of discourage top floor play, which I think work a lot better. Like having the amalgams and having bosses like Rax or the Reanimate boss, things like that. Also having bosses, or flying bosses, spawn on your highest floor. So, I think I definitely much prefer those sorts of more organic ways to like discourage relying solely on top floor, rather than trying to just make it a little more onerous to be setting up on top floor. I haven't read into it or extra covenants on the roadmap at all. At least not on the public roadmap that they put out. No. I don't know if they plan to do that at any point, but on the roadmap, no. I think they talked about this publicly, that they had wanted to kind of condense the covenants. Because, like, in Monster Train 1, well, two things. First off, in Monster Train 1, there's a lot of repeated covenant modifiers, basically. Like, enemies are stronger, and then, 10 ranks later, enemies are stronger again, and just, like, adds on to their stats. Or, like, add a deadweight to your deck, and then 10 ranks later, you get a second deadweight added to your deck. And so that's all just, like, condensed into the 10 ranks of Monster Train 2. But also, they just wanted to make it easier for players to like get to max covenant, so that it doesn't feel like such a grind before you can get to max covenant, which I think is totally fair. Like, especially as someone who plays a lot of roguelike deck builders, it can be very infuriating having to grind all the way to max. I don't really mind that in Monster Train, because even with 25 covenants, it would have been relatively fast. I much more despise that when games have the covenant ranks locked per character. So like in Slay the Spire, to get to Ascension 20, you have to do at least 19 wins per character, which is infuriating. Especially when you are good enough at the game that it is largely a foregone conclusion that you're going to win the early runs. There was a game I was doing a beta for a while back, which had a couple characters, but then it had character combos, like you take multiple characters on a single run. And that one was especially egregious in that every combo had a different like ascension lock to it. And so if you wanted to get to max ascension on every combo, it took an absurd number of runs. And, like, that was bad decision. I think the Slay the Spire had something really novel with its Ascension mechanics, but I think it's a bit overplayed by roguelike deck builders now. I mean, I think Ascension modifiers are a great part of roguelike deck builders for the most part. But the main thing... I mean, I have a lot of feelings about Ascension modifiers in general. But the main thing is I don't think that it should be locked per character. Once somebody is experienced enough at the game, they should be able to play at the highest Ascension modifier with any character. They don't need to essentially be forced to go through a, 20-run tutorial with every single character. 20 wins per character. You need to win on Ascension 0 to unlock Ascension. Yeah, fair point. Forgot. It's great. I just think that I prefer the condensed way that Monster Train 2 does it. And yeah, having to play Ascension 0 on every character is really funny. Ascension 0 on Spire is like, I have to intentionally do something silly to lose. Yeah, and and I agree. I think it works well in Monster Train 2 where it's kind of condensed, where you don't... It's definitely cleaner than Monster Train 1, where there are a lot of repeated modifiers. As far as the actual run ahead of us, though I do love talking about this, but just to keep things rolling a little bit, I do believe we're going to skip on these. Resident removal is maybe worth taking, though, because I kind of get ruined by the sap at the current rate, just because I can't do some things very well. There's a world in which things can develop properly, though, but either way, I'm going to skip it. We'll see what happens. I do kind of want Surgical Strike. But yeah, anyways, to go back to the main topic for just 1 second. I don't think they're ever going to do more Ascension ranks. More Covenant ranks, I should say. Again, don't take my word for gospel. Even if I did know plans in the future, I wouldn't be able to speak about them. But from my own point of view, I don't think they would do that, since like condensing the Covenant ranks was an explicit like goal for the game, as far as I understand it. By the way, connected to game design industry, or just like to discuss how game mechanics works? I am not officially connected to the games industry in any way. I do early access and beta testing for a lot of games just because I happen to be in the roguelike deck builder space and end up working on some games in the testing capacity. But other than that, no like official thing. I just like talking about games and about design and all that. How does Legion work with Electricity Chamber? Does it start stacking with each split? No. So every split will get the spikes, but they don't inherit the spikes from the prior split. It would be interesting to see what they do with Slay the Spire 2. I'd probably do the 80-some wins anyway, but it sure would be nice to have something more streamlined. Yeah, I kind of expect that they're going to have like 20 Ascension ranks in Slay the Spire 2. I would be surprised if they force you to do it per character. I'll be mad if they force you to do it per character. To clarify, technically, here's what I expect. I sort of expect that it's going to launch an early access, making you do it per character, and they're going to get feedback saying, let us do it once and not do it per character, and then they'll probably change it. Who knows, though? Anyways, I kind of want Surgical Strike. I think we're going to skip on it. But it would maybe be useful. But we'll skip. I think we want the Merchant of Magic. I also would really welcome some removals. Also, the healing is not unwelcome here. My deck is such a mess. Hey, the industry left this behind years ago. Please catch up. Yeah. To be fair, I have hopes that they're going to be more radical with Slay the Spire 2 than they're probably going to be. Memorial through the Melted. Don't think we want that right now. Again, a lot of my choices are kind of heavily dependent on what the fuck Bogworm Pyre ends up doing for me. And I know I'm bouncing around in my thoughts, but bear with me as I actually try to play the run and talk about things. The degree to which Slay the Spire made this genre go makes me happy still, even so. So, yeah, I have big respect for Slay the Spire, and I do like Slay the Spire. I admittedly get very frustrated about the way that a lot of design decisions made in Slay the Spire seem to be taken as gospel by a lot of games that have come out since. Like, even now, you see tons of games using essentially exactly the Slay the Spire map. Like, the exact same types of nodes, the exact layout, like 3 to 4 paths per zone, 3 acts, don't get to see the boss until you get to, you know, each act. That kind of annoys the shit out of me. Because we have so many examples. Like, there are a lot of games where that makes sense, and there's a lot of games where that doesn't make sense. And so it's very frustrating to me, especially, like, admittedly, this wouldn't frustrate me if I didn't play basically, like, every new deck builder that comes out. Admit I'm a little behind on that recently, but I play a lot of deck builders. But there's a lot of games where, like, it just doesn't work, and it still gets implemented anyways. For example, like, Cobalt Core. Great game, love it. Should not be using the Slay the Spire map. Because the zones are short enough, and it has few enough node types that... I forget the exact number. Someone ran the numbers at one point. But it's something like 30% of the time you have at least 2 of the paths being functionally the same. And so it's like, why are there 3 paths that you can take, basically, when 2 of them are the same path? Why do you have that? Absolutely meaningless illusion of choice. And so I very much appreciate when games like actually sit down to think, like, should I do that? Or should I do something different, like Monster Train's map system, or Vaults of the Void's map system, or, you know, a bunch of other things. Yeah, I wish Cobalt Core had something a little more novel there. Again, Cobalt Core, great game. It does a bunch of new, interesting, novel things in lots of other ways, which is why it's just a little annoying to me that it has the Slay the Spire map when it doesn't actually make sense for that game. I forget what one Cobalt Core is. Cobalt Core is the one where you are a spaceship of furry animals, and you get to pick 3 crew members, and they determine your card pool. It's a great game. One of my favorite deck builders. It has a few downsides, like it doesn't have enough boss variety and enemy variety, but given the small team that worked on it and all that, it still is a very impressive and very fun game. And I know I'm playing very slowly here. I don't think we're taking Memorial for the Melted. What we're going to do is we're going to do a holdover on Crushing Demise. Or I could do Scrap for Parts. Alright, we're just going to do holdover Crushing Demise. And you're going to get a minus. And so really hoping for Spell Chain. I love the Monster Train map. Pick from 2 and your choice has no effect on future nodes. Yeah. Again, like, I think it's a great example of actually, like, considering the design and deciding if it was right for them to use the Slay the Spire map or not. Anyways. Well. Here we are. I honestly probably want to take capacity from this next upgrade. I'm sort of trying to avoid it, but, you know... I mean, I maybe should have done that differently, but here we are. Anyways, point is, I like Slay the Spire. Definitely not my favorite game in the genre by any means. And I just wish more games would be more intentional with their design choices rather than kind of just taking things as an expectation that that's how it should be. Which is how it feels like a lot of games treat things. Oh, I didn't mean to leave myself no Ember to play that. Whoops. I knew there was some problem with this. Okay, let's not do it that way. Okay, I once again have no capacity. And you're not quite dead yet, but that's maybe fine. God, I just have like no damage killing. I mean, the Crushing Demise is gonna make up a lot of work for me, but like, oh my god, my deck. Okay, well, that solves that problem. I don't want spikes. I want reanimate. I feel like this is not that hard a problem to solve. I just run out of capacity so easily. Maybe taking, or not just capacity. Yeah, I don't know. Don't know what I'm going to do. We're probably taking capacity at the upgrade. That, I think, is what's happening. I kind of want to kill something so I can make more space. But I'm not sure where I want to do that. I do no damage because they have Titan Skin. Oh boy. Capacity won't help against the 7-unit limit, right? Correct. But it does help me play out Fade sometimes. Which is appreciated, nonetheless. It really just does not want to give me things that I care about. You know what? Let's honestly extend your burnout for now. Again, my damage scaling's so bad. But we can maybe get through this, and we still have a little bit of time to refine the deck. The Spike's 15. Yeah, it's not what we wanted, but here we are. We're still not at Relentless yet. Okay, well that problem is solved. Yeah, we're taking care of all of that. I guess let's just leave this for next turn. We're gaining some extra gold. Don't hate that. Okay. Look at us go. Unhelpful. Truly unhelpful. God, it's almost good. And then it's just not quite. If I had one more Ember, No, that's not entirely true because of the reanimate. I really should not have done the reanimate on those, by the way. It seemed like a good idea at the time. Not been that helpful. But that is what it is. It's fine. We're most of the way killing Kale here. Very slowly. Very slowly. And we should be fine overall. Yeah, it's a horrible sound, isn't it? Oh, do I actually want... I'm sorry, we're gonna do this slightly differently. Once it finishes loading. I know this has been a very slow run since we spent a lot of time talking, and I've spent a lot of time hemming and hawing. But that's okay. Hopefully. And basically all of my forces burn out. Anyways, we should have this no matter what, whether we get like fade back or not or anything. Yada yada yada. Here we are. Exciting stuff for exciting people. How long is the long run? Great question, Tom. Okay. Well, I think we want to save resin blades for later, maybe. I mean, I don't think it's particularly helpful right here. If Legion of Wax passed on equipment to its splits, then I'd be way happier, but it doesn't. Spike of the League is potentially helpful, but we definitely want to save that for later. And I guess we're going to take capacity, and it's not going to be enough, and life is a miserable pile of despair. Okay, we're going here. It's just so frustrating that, like, normally Firelight is such a good path, and boy, am I not using it well here. Could take Inferno Room. Think we're not going to take Inferno Room, though. Could do Secret Ingredient, could do the Scribe for Parts. Probably going to do the Crushing Demise. Pretty sure we're just going to do Crushing Demise. I do have a lot of gold, at least. We're just going to get rid of extraneous cards, which is to say the It's Alive. I, in general, would love to use the It's Alive to buff the Legion of Wax so that the splits would have meaningful levels of attack. Has not been working out that way. And yes, giving them Reanimate is a concern. Oh well, so be it. That's just what's going to happen. Unhelpful. Also unhelpful. Truly doesn't want to cooperate. I could do this. I'm not going to, though. Yes, go forth, my legion, and conquer. God, I really need things that cost less than they do. I knew this was a problem when I accepted it. Okay. Okay. And you're not even dying. You are, though. Alright, whatever. Unfortunately, I don't play other Crushing Demise. Oh well. And again, I just get blocked by the Titan skin, unfortunately, because my dudes are not that strong. Sadly. Okay. Oh, wrong order. My bad. Because we want to do the, It's Alive first so that it has the extra attack. I think we're actually doing that one. And then leaving the primitive, or the permafrosted one for later. Well, I truly do have a Legion. It just is not a great Legion. Okay, so that's taken care of. This is sort of taken care of. I feel like maybe I want you here. Except, yeah, now you're not splitting. Well, we'll see what happens. I'm having Reanimate, and also just generally having Titan Skin is really not going great for me. The Reanimated Legion seems like such a handicap. Yeah, it's not great. It is helpful for Relentless. That is not what I need help for, though. Gonna take a little bit of pyro damage. Oh well, it's what I got. At least reduce the damage incoming quite a bit. Unfortunately, I'm not able to play out the Tycoon, so I'm not getting all the extra gold that I could be. Oh well, it is what it is. Let's see if we can murder Rax. Yeah, I do hate this. Why? Why so many spikes? There we go. I thought that'd be enough. My game is lagging just because it's too many units everywhere all at once with different particle effects. This has been such a mess of a run. Oh, God. At least it looks fun to have all those Legion attacking. It really gives the feeling of fight an army with an army. Yes. Especially because I usually play just like a single floor setup. It is very different to have the full... every space on every floor taken up. Ooh. Well, there we are. We're definitely not taking the votive area. We're not taking the engulfed in smoke. We're going for the Merchant of Magic here. Gives me the vibe of the intended way to play. More crushing, more demise. I mean, I did kind of want it. Admittedly, I kind of want Acid Shower here. We're not doing it, though. We got problems. Oh, okay, we're going here. Let's see what happens. Okay. Okay. Well, Waxer Snuffer does cause us problems, kind of, but also is kind of very good for us, so we're gonna take it anyways. Memorial Fund is way too late. Enjoy. I probably should have intrinsic the scrap for parts. Oh, well, I didn't. That's fine. I was hoping for Spell Chain. But instead we'll do this. Well, I would love to have gotten rid of the It's Alive, but I didn't, and that's a thing. Wow, so casually taking the totem. I never regret it without taking it. So here's the deal, is I went into the shop knowing that I was going to take Odie's totem if it was offered. Because, I'll tell you right now, my deployment phase basically doesn't matter, and having extra Ember does help me. Like, it's effectively only -1 to... I'm sorry, it is... There we go. Is -2 to deployment Ember. It does mean that I can't play out the Tycoon. I don't care. That's not the problem. Well, you can still do one floor only. I like how Monster Train 2 is more focused on doing multiple floors, especially because of those birds that damage the Pyre and empty floor. First game felt almost obligated to do one floor only with infused units. So, I agree with the sentiment. I do disagree with some of the specifics. Specifically in that I don't think Monster Train 1 really totally achieves the goal of encouraging multi-floor setups. What it encourages is bottom floor setups, which is still an improvement over Monster Train 1, but it doesn't really encourage multi-floor setups as much as people make it out to be. Regardless, we're doing that. I should be not playing that spell on this floor, probably. Well, look at us go. And all that said, I think that's more or less fine. I do still like the ability to do like single floor setups regularly. But yeah, I do think it could do more to encourage multi-floor setups if it wanted to. Also, I'm deciding what I want to do here. I don't really need to do the Crushing Demises. The problem is that I want you dead, which I guess I can still do. Could let him go back into the deck and then start powering up with the scrap for parts, by the way, which is maybe a better play than I'm giving it credit for at the moment. Okay, we're just gonna do that and whatever. I think lower floor setups in general, mixing up floors depending on the fight is much more common in Monster Train 2. Yeah, I mean, I do agree that it's not just bottom floor. It's just that bottom floor is... Yes, there are times where you're going to set up mid-floor, but most of those times it's still preferable if you can set up bottom floor. The game definitely encourages that overall. Okay, well that takes care of that. May as well do that, I guess. In clear bottom, you don't need anything else unless you're doing invasion. Everything comes from the bottom. Yeah. Okay, sap is a little bit annoying, but not really a problem. So I could leave the Legion rolling, but you're already decently strong, even with the sap. Ta-da! Yeah, it helps that Fade now gives, what, like plus 40, or I'm not plus 40, but plus 40 attack on death. It's pretty nice. Okay, so we're going to do... Yeah, so only you have burnout. So what we're going to do is we're going to kill you so you explode that guy, so then when you die, you're actually going to be buffing the entire floor. Also, she has Reanimate now, which we've been very bad at applying, but now it does mean that, you know, she does impart a lot of stats. Here, have that, I don't care. Anyways, my deck is a bit of a mess. It's fine. Here we go. We should be sufficient to win. God, go fuck yourself. No one likes you. Oh, you have Titan skin? How dare you have Titan skin? I mean, whatever. We'll just do this anyways. Oh, and I didn't play out the Crushing Demise. Doesn't really matter. Okay. Yeah, we already have the kill, but let's have the kill even better. I wonder why they don't fix Little Fade to make it work like it did in Monster Train 1. What do you mean? If you're talking about specifically Little Icarus and the Slay trigger when she dies, that was a bug that did get fixed in the Lost Arsenal update. Yeah, that was just a bug. It got fixed. They just can't update the game as frequently as they might like to because patching, especially on multiple consoles, is a pain in the ass. And so it makes sense for them to like bundle things into like larger patches. Oh wait, does Little Fade slay when dying now? Didn't know that? Yeah. It was a bug. It just got fixed in the Lost Arsenal. It was easy to miss because there were so many things in the Lost Arsenal patch. But yeah, it got fixed. It was something that, you know, got pointed out pretty early on, and obviously, like, they wanted to fix it, I'm sure. But, you know, they just had to wait for a good opportunity, and there was a lot of other things that needed to be addressed as well. Awesome, I thought that was just a really brutal nerf that didn't make sense since I didn't work without a Little Fade works. No. It was just a bug. I would sell my soul for a Monster Train 2 mobile port, as functional as Steam Link is. Yeah. You are not the only one who has said that. It's definitely something that would be pretty popular, though I don't know if they'll ever be able to do it. And they're clearly busy with other things, like working on the other things on the roadmap. Okay, well, it hit the target I wanted it to hit. And I'm pretty happy to do that now. I mean, it would have been nice to keep killing Fade more, and I could have waited, but just, like, getting a Legion prepared is pretty good. Are there more known bugs? Haven't noticed any. Yeah, there's a variety of known bugs. Like, I believe the weird ascending bug is still there, where if you hover... Actually, that one might have been fixed, now that I think about it. But, just to finish that thought, if you hover an ascend card on a unit, it, at least under some circumstances, will act as though the unit has been ascended, so you can just like move it up and down on a unit to trigger shift an infinite number of times without actually ever playing the card. Echo Room was a bit buggy at one point. I think they patched a bit out. Yeah, Echo Room is kind of a nightmare in terms of coding, it seems like. I don't know how many bugs with that still remain, but there are some bugs. I don't remember offhand what exactly still is currently in, though. We'll still do that, I guess, and we'll just prepare this with spikes. It, like, for some reason, it's really wanted to give me spikes on the infusions this run. Unhelpful. I'm only an amateur coder, but I can instinctually tell Echo Room is going to have like 500 edge cases. Yeah, and that's the thing is, like, conceptually, it's working largely just fine. It's just that there have been so many small edge cases that have come up that are problematic. But hey, that's just how it's going to be. Okay, so here's what we want to do. We want to kill you so that we can make room for another Legion. Oh look! Another Legion floor. How exciting. Oh no, we get stabbed. I mean, the stab does, like, cut into our power quite a bit. It's just that it also doesn't matter. We have enough power that it's fine. I definitely have more crushing demises than I need at this point, but that's fine. We're also going to do that because we'd rather buff you up, and also we'd rather you be the one who dies. I hate that Echo Room can discard Pyrolites. You mean with, like, Frenzied Swarm? Yeah, it's frustrating. I mean, like, it's overall fine, because, like, it's something that you're opting into if you want to do that, and you can just not take Echo Vault if you were doing Frenzied Swarm. But, yes, I will agree, it's annoying. The game is definitely not ready for this level of Legions. Once again, we're just going to have to wait on Dominion, though, basically. If only we could just crushing demise him. Oh, what a world that would be. Also, unfortunately, we have to wait through combat even though they're doing no damage. Alright, well, I'm glad we got Legion of Wax to finally materialize. Again, I made some bad choices. Namely, giving it Reanimate was not great. But that's fine. Overall, for the most part, this is going well. Also, I definitely should be looking for Purple Infusion. Kind of spaced out that that's the thing I should be doing. There we go. Yeah, I understand, but it's also difficult to notice on max speed. You just play and then wait, where are my fire lights? Yeah. It's still weird that you can get Dominion to generate 2 pyre lights in a turn if you... Well, more than 2 even. Multiple if you let enemies leak into the pyre room. Overall, I just really want them to change it from a resolve trigger. I find it very frustrating that it's a resolve trigger. But I don't particularly like the design of Dominion or the Titan fight in general, as has been discussed many a time in many a place. Doesn't matter what we get here, who cares? Alright. And so, thus, we're gonna kill the great and terrible enemy. Yeah, this is definitely a fucking mess of a run, but we got there. It's fine. It's just the things that I drafted did not work particularly well together. Ta-da! Oh, man. Again, Legion of Wax can be very strong. I will say I think it's a substantially less exciting unit in Monster Train 2, since there are no more infusions to use. And that was far and away the coolest part of Legion of Wax. But, still can do a lot of work for you. And thus, we have finally mastered all the Remnant cards. Which we should have done a long time ago. Like, even on the, like, you know, post-release file that I have, I still have, like, 700 hours in this game. Maybe more. And I really should have all of the mastery done by now. Oh, what was that last mastery? Didn't have, missed it. For Remnant, it was Legion of Wax. Mostly the things I'm missing are just the rare units. But that's pretty normal, since they show up a lot less frequently than other cards. Anyways, let us record what we used. Okay, I hadn't cleared out from Primordium, so give me a moment. And then we can update it. I'm still glad that Superfood went as well as it did. Because it would have been upsetting if it had not. But that's fine. Okay, so... this was Firelight, which ended up being way more of a problem than it should have been. And we had Bogworm, and even then we had to take capacity. We had Wickless Tycoon, which was fine. It was helpful at times. We had Legion of Wax. Those should be the only 2 units. And then as far as spells go, we used up Crushing Demise. It's Alive, which is a shame because It's Alive is somewhat valuable and was very largely worthless for us here. Scrap for Parts. And I believe that was everything. We pretty heavily thinned down our deck. Oh, and I didn't clean out the rooms. There we go. Because we didn't use any rooms, we didn't use any equipment. That should be everything. I wish rare units were just slightly more common, just slightly. I think they're in a pretty decent spot where they are. Like, yes, it can be a little frustrating, but them being as rare as they are allows them to be, like, as strong as they are. Because, like, a lot of the rare units are fairly game warping, and I think they're more interesting in that way than if they were more common and had to be toned down. I like the rare units being in a place where they are very strong if you build around them. And a lot of the times when rare units show up, they're not necessarily going to be like your deck is not going to be well suited to it, but you have the chance to like pivot to it. Anyways, I think it adds a lot of like interesting stuff as it is. Yes, it can be a little annoying that like you don't see them all that often, especially if you don't sink nearly as many hours into this game as I do. But I still like them more or less where they are, where they add a special, meaningful flavor to runs that they show up in and you build around. And then there's also Shadow Siege. Yeah, again, that's part of why Shadow Siege bothers me, is that it's just not a unit you can build around. And like it's just a big block of stats that also is a bad block of stats. Which is also why I get frustrated when people try to like pitch fixes for it, like just double its stats. Doesn't solve the main problems of it. Does not make it any more interesting of a unit. Anyways, so that was the first of Fade's runs, which I should probably note on the tracker. Okay, so we've done 1 of 3 runs with Fade, and now we still need to do Eternal Flame, and we need to do Little Icarus. I built around Shadow Siege once, even one against the Titans, but it would have been easier if I didn't build it around Shadow Siege. Yeah, again, building around Shadow Siege, though, doesn't really mean anything. Like, it doesn't have any unique mechanics. It just requires more Ember to play at the beginning. There's not really any, like, gameplay associated with, like, building around Shadow Siege. The closest there is like, overstacking a floor, or just upgrading Shadow Siege. But, like, what of it? But anyways, like, again, you can definitely win with Shadow Siege. You can win with really any cards or strategy in this game. As much as some people would like to tell you otherwise, whatever. That doesn't make Shadow Siege good or interesting. Anyway, so what are we doing here, since we need to swap pyres? We might want Echo the Time Father. And we might want Wing Spirit, as much as I hate to admit. I've had a good Shadow Siege run or two, just not a fun unit even when it works. Yeah. It's just bad. It and Penumbra are very much the perfect Venn diagram of both bad and boring. I just want them to be more than that. It's, like, Penumbra in particular really bothers me, because I really like the champion system of this game. I think it's a very cool, fun design for the most part, but what I really enjoy about the champions is when they are doing something for me that is special and unique and can't be done without that champion. Not that you always need to build into your champion, not that you always need to like make them the focal point of your deck, but I appreciate that, like any given clan combo, they are giving me unique tools to work with. And so having a champion that does not give me any unique tools, does not give me anything interesting to build around, is pretty boring and lame. Yeah, I think Penumbra is both the worst and least interesting champion. I think it is for Primordium, getting even more fun in Monstering 2. I don't know that Penumbra is actually necessarily the worst champion Monstering 2. I certainly don't like it, but there are arguments to be made that at least like gets you over the early game, which some people value very heavily. But if you're actually trying to like make your champion a focal point of your strategy and like care about your champion surviving through battles and not just throwing them away in later fights, then yes, Penumbra is very bad. But admittedly, that's a little bit of a playstyle thing. I just really dislike throwing away my champion. Sometimes I'll do it, but it is not what I like doing, even when that is a viable strategy. Which is, again, partly why I dislike Sentient as well, because that's another champion where people often make the argument of like, oh, it performs really well early game, and then you just throw it on bottom floor and watch it die while you do something entirely different on a higher floor late game. And like, yes, it's viable, it's also late. Anyways, I think we're taking time, Father, to start, as much as I would like to not. Let's see what we're offered. I will tell you right now, Paraffin Enforcer with Wicklash, not a bad start. Well, we have to take a little Icarus, which is not what I wanted with that. Okay. Fair enough. Well, that's not exactly what I want to see. I mean, I could take... I'm just going to take the gold, frankly. Unfortunately, not the best start for Little Icarus in a lot of ways. The minus Ember is really going to be a bit of an issue. Well, fuck. So I want to try to get that, but to do so I'd have to use up the infusion and try to get blue infusion. Okay, that's something. Yeah, but them having the healers is not helpful for the Little Icarus gameplay at all. Really not what I wanted here. Admittedly, I should have had Fade hitting you, but hey. Alright, let's freeze the Wicklash at least. And then just take a bunch of pyro damage. Yeah, it's annoying in a lot of ways though, because now you're going to be in the Reform Pool, and I don't really want you to be in the Reform Pool. Yeah, for this exact reason. But I did want you to do that. I might need to retry this first battle, unfortunately. There we go. Okay. Not great, given that Fade got 0 kills. Fade is getting 1 kill right here, but... No, Fade doesn't even get that kill. God damn it. Yeah, real bad start. I mean, it's fine. There are plenty of ways to recover. It's just not great. Don't think we're taking resin removal. Don't think we're taking molded, though that might be useful, but I think mostly we're just going to try to stop playing other units. Could take the Purifying Cleanse. Might be worth taking the Purifying Cleanse. I'm going to not, though I may regret that. I will take Faulty Body, even though I don't really want the things. What I want is, I want Reanimate. And unfortunately, that is not wildly helpful at the moment. Okay, well, let's go here. I mean, if I could take Pincushion. It's not the best for me right here. Plague Doctor is okay, though. I was really trying to avoid this. I think we will take Plague Doctor, even if it is really not what I want to do. Well, the double stack could also have been nice, but here we are. My deck is a mess. Maybe should have just removed some things. But well, here we are. Okay. Well, fine. At least Fade got one kill. Okay, Fade gets more kills. Unfortunately, I don't get the Collector, and I still have a boatload of problems. But it's looking up a little bit. Unhelpful. You're going to do a lot of damage to me at this rate. Yeah, I don't know if that's tenable. Okay, we're at least alive for the moment. Oh, God. Yeah, I don't want you back, unfortunately. Well, really not what I wanted to do, but that is a way to not die. Also, didn't use Time Father. Certainly should have used Time Father. Okay. Well, Fade is not getting the kill on him. That's fine. We're surviving. This is a really bad start to the run. And here we are. Ooh, boy. But we're alive. That's the important part. I mean, I kind of like Hollow Drippings right now. Kind of don't. The problem is that what I really want is just reanimate. And I'm not really getting that. And here we are. Can't take the It's Alive. Could take the Explosive Reaction. Probably should take the Explosive Reaction. But I'm not going to. Now, we're gonna go for the Merchant of Arms. And we're gonna see what happens. Okay. I was really hoping for Unstable Shard. I'll be very clear. Let's get rid of some junk. Okay, so Reanimation Lab is sort of nice. And I can't make it deployable now because I, for some reason, thought I'd have slightly more gold. Okay. Bit of a mistake on my part. Admittedly, I was really hoping we'd get, like, Organ Harvester. Because that would be a very good pickup for us. As is, I sort of kind of can do some interesting things. Oh, I meant to be on top floor. Whoops. Bear with me. There we go. I knew something didn't look right. Okay. Yeah, we'll put it on that floor, and we will do that, even though I don't totally want you to die. Yeah, that's not the one we wanted. Okay, fine. Do it like this, and then we're going to freeze that for reasons. Okay, so we can get Fade now. It now comes out with higher HP, which is appreciated. And we're gonna start working on Reanimate. Alright, so she survives, gets a kill, does some things, blocks attacks for us. Now, she's back again. Yeah, whatever. We'll feel like that, I guess. Okay. Yeah, I kind of need you to die, because otherwise... If you end up in back, then that's a problem for us for later. Like, I need to do it this way. Alright, we take a bit more fire damage. And then, of course, I can't Reform Fade this turn. Why would I be able to Reform Fade this turn? There we go. That's how I kill those guys, because otherwise it's not great. Right. Okay, so now you can finally get the Vampire Tooth. Even though it's not actually that helpful for you right now, that's fine. And this will look a lot better as soon as this comes out. I don't know if Fade is actually getting the kill. Fade at least killed the frontliner and is doing a real good job for us in general. Yep, and Fade gets the kill. How exciting. My deck is a mess still, but we got through the early game. We have a chance to stabilize, and there's Spike of the League, which is like the #1 thing that we want. Unfortunately, it has a calcified Ember. Also, we're not going to do Hydra Armed Horror right now. This is not the run for it. Cool unit. Definitely has some weird hoops to jump through. This is not the time. Okay. I definitely don't need capacity. I think we're doing Ember. The draw is also very appealing to me. God, I really want Merchant of Magic more than anything. Merchant of Arms I also want, but Merchant of Magic is 100% the thing that we want. I think we're going here, though. Yeah, I guess so. Okay, well, we got up to 33 spikes. Could have been worse. I guess we're going to do this. Just so we have some backup damage if we need it. It's really not what I want to do, but it is gonna work. Sort of. Okay. So, let's get rid of you. Let's get rid of one of you. And then we're going to dupe the Spike of the League. Even if it's not upgraded right now, still it's what we want. Deep in our heart of hearts. More than anything else, that is what we want. Okay. Alright. Thanks to the reanimation lab, you survive enough to kill multiple of these guys. We still have other problems, but for the most part, you're doing some work. Unfortunately, then we don't. Yeah, this was a bad turn to not get the reform. I thought about doing Time Father on the primitive mold from turn 1, and I do wish I had done that. Might be worth redoing the battle for that. Okay, but we at least have this to mitigate the problems. Okay, we are going to take some pyre damage, whatever. Sometimes you take pyre damage. Okay. Okay, I thought that was enough. I just didn't really do the full math for it, but Yeah, unfortunately, you know, I am going to do that so we can for sure reanimate or reform you next turn. Although it might hit the Plague Doctor, but whatever. Yeah, this is why we did it, so that no matter what, we'd get Fade back. And then, unsurprisingly, with your big, hefty stats, thanks to the Reanimation Lab and all that jazz, you get the goddamn kill. How wonderful. It's all sort of coming together. We are not doing the Subsuming Blade. I don't think we need Memorial for the Melted, though honestly, it's a maybe. I think it's a no, because we are already currently using Reanimation Lab, though. Surgical Strike, kind of like. I think we're gonna not do it. We're going here. I will take Flicker's Liquor. Firestone Housing would be great if I were doing something different. We are going to take Organ Harvester. For sure. Might take Overgrowth Carapace as well. Although I'm putting myself in an awkward position. Also, really wish I had deployabled the Reanimation Lab previously. Yeah, we don't get another Merchant of Arms still here. But that's largely fine. We already have 66 spikes. I just don't know that I care about Overgrowth Carapace. I think it's probably worth me doing, though. Okay, fine. I meant to do the merge there, but yes, I also do want deployable. And then we are going to dupe Spike of the League again. Who would have guessed? Okay. Let's see what happens. Unfortunately, doesn't work during deployment. It really should not work during deployment. Like, it's definitely better for the game that it doesn't. Now, I don't remember how much HP the enemies have here. I think we still want to do this as backup. Yeah. She's growing larger. She can't be stopped. Okay. Would love for you to die at some point, which we can do the Wicklash if we really need to. I mean, this doesn't really matter. I just don't really want to sap my dudes, even though that wouldn't matter too much. Okay, yeah. We'll leave it for now. I probably should have time fathered the thing. I mean, I could do this. Sure. Your spikes, unfortunately, are not quite high enough yet. But they're most of the way there. And she gets most of the kills here, but not quite all of them. Okay, so we're going to do that so you can burn out. I should have done it before. But this way, Plague Doctor's not going to steal kills away from Fade. Kind of. Yeah, unfortunately, you're going to steal just a little bit away from us, but there's nothing I can do about that. But they do put Unstable on, which means that every round the Unstable is going to steal a kill, which is unfortunate. That's why I wanted to kill off the Plague Doctor earlier. It's fine. I still get a lot of extra power from this. It's just that I could have gotten a good chunk more. We are not taking Devourer of Death. Technically, it could do some decent work for us here, but overall, it's a card that I don't care about. Oh boy. We are now up to 147 spikes. Not bad. We are 100% going here. The faulty body is also kind of cute, but mostly not going to matter in the future. I will do that for reasons. I guess we'll do that. And then we're either duping... We're either duping the Spike of the League, or maybe we're gonna dupe the Faulty Body. Just because I'm not quite strong enough to take on the heavies when they show up later. And so having a way to boost up my spikes is probably useful. I mean, we'll get a chunk of power between now and then. But yeah, I'll do this. We'll see what happens. Largely, we're in good shape. Okay, I'm not going to play those out for now. Yeah, your spikes just aren't quite high enough yet. Yeah, I'll just freeze those, I guess. Sure, Kale's getting a bunch of damage shields, who cares? Sure. Okay, you are now strong enough that you can kill those guys with just the spikes, which means that then you can also start feeding on the cherubs. The reanimation lab isn't quite as helpful since you don't really benefit from the extra HP, kind of. Technically, it's still helpful if I need to reform you later, because you'll come out at max HP, and so all of the HP that we're building up from the carapace and from the reanimation lab will all still be useful. I'll tell you right now, I don't think that's gonna matter. Well, Fade is very large now. And very strong. Okay. I'm glad this has come together. I do really like Little Icarus, but man, was this a rough start. But that's fine. We didn't need it to be a particularly great start. We just needed to get over the initial things and start building spikes. And getting Spike of the League was very useful for us. Anyways, we already have the kill here. We'll just leave it. And we even get to kill them all before they get eaten. And then Kale dies even with all those damage shields. How exciting. Yeah, we're not doing Hallowed Halls. We're not doing any of those. In a different world, they could have been useful, but not this world. We're going to do the Ember. The draw still could be useful, but we're just doing Ember. Yeah, going here. Okay. You know what? Let's do the Holy Stone, even though I got carried away here. Yeah, I mean, I probably should have done the intrinsic, but I got carried away. That's fine. Doesn't matter. Should also remove some cards. Do you need to take the 3rd level of the path for the challenge or just the 1st? Have to, no cross-pathing. Have to go all the way to the end. Yeah, unfortunately, you're a jerk who steals my slay triggers. There's nothing I can do about that. I'm gonna do that just so that you don't go into the reform pile. Because I kind of forgot that we had to deal with that. But whatever. God, what an asshole stealing my slay triggers. Wilden 10 Strangler 3. Yeah, it was not my favorite. Especially because we already have to do it again, so that's also something. Alright, I may as well do that, I guess. Yeah, it's delicious, delicious kills. Sadly not getting you. Although I can do that for the remaining kills. And then you just burn out again, and that's fine. And the stupid heralds just ruin my days. Is that the root one? Yes. Strangler is the sweep and root Wilden 10. You know, we'll just freeze those. That's fine. It can be decent as a cross path, but it is really not my favorite to start with, and it is generally not what you want to be doing with... You generally don't want to take more than one rank of it. It's almost always better to just do one of the others. I kind of want to freeze you, well, root you, but it's actually probably a bad idea. Yeah, because it makes it harder for me to kill the heavies on the following turn. Unfortunately, you're a jerk. I was hoping for blue. For a moment, I was wondering why he had the reanimate, and I forgot that I just flat out given him reanimate. Anyways, whatever. I was hoping that I could do enough blue infusions that I could just kill him with the blue infusion. before combat. That's not going to happen, so we'll just leave it. Okay, and then the Thane's here. It's totally fine. We just murder a Thane, no problem. Yes. Look at all that delicious slaughter. You ain't got nothing on us, a Thane. Anyways, can't take Crushing Demise. I mean, many of the drafts on this run have not really mattered. At least not after a certain point. But anyways, can't take Crushing Demise. Wouldn't take it anyways. If we were doing something different and they were relying on reforming Fade, absolutely would happily take Crushing. Well, I'd at least consider it. It'd be a little annoying that it would be stealing slaves from Fade, but at least it would be an option. Although Hallowed Halls would have been the much better option for that. Regardless, not doing it. Already have an Organ Harvester. Don't need any of these. There we go. And I think we're just going here. And then just duping the Spike. Could also just go here and heal and, like, remove some stuff. Could also dupe the Faulty Body, which might be the right thing to do. Of note, I did kind of neglect to pay attention to the fact that... I mean, I was paying attention to this. I just kind of forgot that because this is Dominion, we're going to be up against a bunch of dudes with Reanimate, which is going to be a bit of a problem, because we can take off one of their lives with the spikes, but then they'll still have multiple lives left. That said, I think that means that we just got to use the Plague Doctor, which is fine. Because the Plague Doctor can put Unstable on them and help finish them off after. I kind of want to go here just for... You know what? We'll just go here for the healing and the removals. Does not really help. Sure, I'll do that. And I will do that and that, even though that limits how much I can just remove now. We're gonna get rid of you, because you are truly unhelpful for me. We're gonna get rid of that, for similar reasons. And I think we might even get rid of the Paraffin Enforcer. Maybe keep the Paraffin Enforcer. I did forget that I wanted the Reanimation Lab deployable at the Merchant of Arms. I knew there was a reason I was going there. Would also be nice to get rid of the Wicklashes. Whatever. I'm gonna get rid of one of them. I cannot get rid of the other. Which does mean we're sort of wasting the Paraffin Enforcer and the Wicklashes as far as Hat Trick is concerned, but that's fine. I always feel bad about removing them at the last ring because it feels against the spirit of the challenge, but whatever. Okay, so you are somewhat vulnerable to things. Which is to say that Dominion is going to be generating corruption on you, but that's fine. We can just, like, Spike of the League you, or just keep reanimating you. Not reanimating, reforming. Like, that's not too big an issue. But largely, Fade is self-sufficient here. Like, yeah, she's sort of going to be losing some stacks here and there, but for the most part, it's going to be doing okay for us. Thank you for finishing off the reanimate, guys. Okay, so we can bring you back now. And once again, everything is fine. We'll just do that and give you more reanimate. Yeah, I really do appreciate that we have the Plague Doctor, because otherwise we were going to have to get creative. Or just take a bunch of pyre damage, which admittedly we could sort of afford, but it's just not what we really wanted. We're going to do that to extend your burnout. And then just give you more reanimate if needed. In the meantime, we'll do this. Yes. I mean, our turns are largely taken care of already. Since it's basically just, you know, let enemies crash upon Fade and watch as the worldly woes come to naught. Yeah, as much as I like Little Fade or Little Icarus, it does end up being just kind of this situation late game where your turn is largely just press end and you're good. Especially with something like Organ Harvester, where it doesn't actually matter in the slightest. Like, I don't need to play defenses on Fade most turns because she's already got it taken care of. Since she automatically gets a ton of reanimate. Also, she did have nearly 6,000 corruption on her right there. Turns out, reanimate is very strong. Alright, on to the Titans, which should be pretty straightforward. We're at full health. Whatever. We're going to take some pyre damage while we wait for things to die. But Savagery will kill himself on Fade spikes at a decent rate. Entropy will take a bit longer, but we'll still be okay. I'm still going to play you there, even though you are going to deny Fade a little bit of scaling. Also, I enjoy that we are up to 517 spikes. Oh yeah, you're gonna die to Savagery. I did forget about that aspect of this. Well, that's fine. Because he tramples over, so he'll kill the Plague Doctor too. Not a big deal. We'll just reform and get reanimated at some point. Okay, you now exist again. And Fade just keeps stacking up the spikes. Thanks to the faulty bodies, is now at 657. Oh no, we get sapped. However, shall we manage? I did once again forget that I could just be doing something like this to tone down the whole damage from you situation. It's not perfect. I'm still gonna have to wait a long while anyways. I guess maybe not that long. Yeah, Savagery is almost done here. If I can just do melee weakness on you. I mean, I'll do that. It barely matters. Because I think we'd still have to just wait for Savagery to hit bottom 4 again anyways. Alright, and now, because we increased the attack of those guys, even the front dude dies to Fade Spikes, since he previously had 0 attack and now has 5 attack. How cute. Alright, purple's what we want. Yeah, he's dying either way. Would have been nice to have him prevent the fire damage, but again, it doesn't matter. We've got so much HP, and they're so dead for the most part. Technically, Fade is dying right here. Not all that concerned. Okay, and now we get the kill. Ta-da! Exciting stuff. Only 31 damage taken, and Fade ended up with like 600 some spikes. Oh, again, rough start, but we got there in the end. Oh, that was a little clumsy cat. Exciting stuff. Yeah, so she ended at 593 spikes. Although, again, we were also using the faulty bodies each time, so effectively has 120 more spikes than that at least, but by default ended at 593, which is not bad, especially for how bad the early fights were. Because we got 0 kills on the first fight. We got like 1 or 2 kills on the second fight, something like that. Maybe a bit more than that, but either way, it was not a good start by any means. But it worked out well. Turns out Little Icarus is still very strong so long as you can support it defensively. And you definitely need some help in the early game. Also, in Monster Train 2 in particular, you do need some answers to like reanimate enemies, which is not something you had to worry about in Monster Train 1. Kind of. There were still a couple damage shield enemies, but those were very rare in Monster Train 1. And Reanimate is rare, but not that rare in Monster Train 2. Especially if you're going up against Dominions here, if it's something you very much have to deal with. Alright, sorry cat. I would love to keep petting you, but I need to write some things. There we go. Okay, so let us record what we used. We definitely used a lot more than last time. So we had Paraffin Enforcer, which unfortunately was just a body for us. It really was unhelpful basically the entire run, except for just blocking hits. Plague Doctor was helpful. And I believe those are all the units, because we removed everything else at some point or another. And then you are in the way again, cat. We had Spike of the League. Truly the star of the show. We had Faulty Body. And Whiplash, because we just never were able to get rid of it. I think that was all the spells. Yeah. And then rooms, we had Reanimation Lab. And that should be the only one. And then equipment, we had Organ Harvester and Overgrowth Carapace. Okay. That should be everything we used. Not too bad. There's still plenty. Oh, and I didn't even record what path that was. That was Little Icarus. And we did that with Time Father, which takes up too much text. We're just going to say time. Regardless, that should be everything. We still have Eternal Flame to go, which is the endless and quick path that gains stats when she dies, which is fine. It's not the most exciting path, but it's pretty powerful. It just does a lot of damage, and it's fairly agnostic to whatever else you're doing because Fade is free to play. She does eat up a draw each time, she dies and has to get replayed, but it's not too big a deal. She just jump blocks for you and does some damage and is reasonably powerful. Not the most exciting, but not bad. Regardless, that's where we're stopping for the night because it's late and that's life. So we'll pick up where we left off tomorrow and try to finish off Fade. I am not too worried about it, though, at risk of cursing the run. So you can't repeat Pyreheart, but can do the same secondary. We have to do the same secondary. Because if we were able to swap the secondary, like the allied clan, if we were able to swap that, it would lose a lot of the point of budgeting cards across the 3 runs. Because you could just use a different allied clan each time, and then you have a much wider card pool to pull from. And so the fact that you can't swap is worse for you and is the point. But yeah, we're not repeating Pyre Hearts across the 3 runs because that also seems fun. We're also not using Dominion Pyre Heart because reasons. And also, while I was using it before, I've also been trying to avoid doing Life Mother's Pyre. But that is where we stand. Anyways, thank you for hanging out, everyone. Have a wonderful evening. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a nice night.